At the start of this video, I ask one thing. Please stay with me. Please hear what I have to say, because I think it might just be one of the most important things I have ever and will ever say. Thank you. The church is divided. The church is not as one. The church is not what Jesus wants it to be. There are so many things that the church is divided about. For example, homosexuality. Paul speaks in Romans 1 of men giving up natural relations with women and being consumed with passion for one another, men committing shameless acts with men, needing penalty, that they were perverse. And he lists homosexual offenders amongst thieves, drunkards, and idolaters in his letters to Corinth. But he also says in those letters, those same letters, that women should keep silent in the churches, for they are not permitted to speak, as the law also says. If there is anything they desire to learn, let them ask their husbands at home, for it is shameful for a woman to speak in church. He then continues in 1 Timothy to say, let a woman learn quietly with all submissiveness. I do not permit a woman to teach or to exercise authority over a man. Rather, she is to remain quiet. So which do we do? Do we listen to what Paul says and ban women from his ministry and teaching? Do we disregard him and accept gay people and people of other sexualities? The church is divided. Another example, abortion. Is it right to abort a fetus? Is it right to abort an embryo? Is it right if it came about because of rape? Is it right if the mother's life is in danger? Is it right if both the mother and child will die if the pregnancy continues? Is it right? The church is so painfully divided. It is full of arguments. It is full of quarrels over even petty spats that aren't even about issues as big as this. About silly things like how big a church building should be, or whether children should be allowed to take communion, or what criteria someone has to fulfill in order to become a member. Do I think Jesus cares about these things? Yes, I think he does. But the key thing here is that none of these are key issues. The key thing here is that Jesus, the Son of God, which Paul was not, Jesus told us to love one another. He loved humanity as he loved himself. I would go as far as to say more than he loved himself. So we should love those people. We should love them. We should not judge them. We should not judge them because that is not our job. That is the right of God, the Almighty, He who made us and shaped us and loves us and brought us into being. He and He alone has the right to judge other people. Else we become like the Pharisees. We become like the Pharisees who brought a woman caught having sex with a man not her husband to Jesus. We become like the Pharisees who thought they'd catch him out, thought he couldn't reply, thought Jesus didn't have an answer, who thought they were better than Jesus, superior. We become like the Pharisees, whom Jesus told to go away unless they were perfect, and then, when everyone else was gone, he said, neither do I condemn you. Go. The perfect one, the single person who has the right to judge, he gave her another chance. He loved her more than her mistakes. So if we judge, if we say that people don't deserve another chance, don't deserve our love, we take the law of God into our own hands. We feel so much pride, so much vanity, that we think it's okay to do God's job for him. We try and take away God's responsibility, God's right, God's ultimate and supreme power to decide what is right and wrong. I'm sorry, but we as flawed, imperfect, unsanitary, lowly humans are trying to remove his right to distinguish between yes and no, between black and white, between sin and righteousness. That is not right. That is impossible. And there is no way that we will ever be able to do this in a way that pleases God. Because you see, Jesus did not specifically say if homosexuality was right or wrong. He did not specifically say when an embryo becomes a fetus. He did not specify. So technically, These are our opinions. We are deciding what we think Jesus might have said on these topics. We are deciding what is right and wrong. We are not listening, obeying, and following, because Jesus did not say these things. But he did say to love one another as we love ourselves. He said to follow him with everything we are. He said to spread the gospel to all four corners of the earth, so there would not be a single person on the planet, whether we think they are flawed and wrong and imperfect, just as we are, as you are, as I am, because to him there are no gradients, there is just simply right and wrong. Not one single person as flawed as the rest of us who has not heard this gospel. Not one without the opportunity to see this glorious salvation, this unbridled joy, this immense freedom. So we should not be divided over our opinions. We should not be arguing over our secondary issues. We should be as one, united under our common principal belief that Jesus died for us, to save humanity, and that everyone should know about this. But we are not united. We are a divided, imperfect church. So maybe we should start to put aside these issues, these irrelevances, and start to become the church Jesus wanted us to be.